Hello everyone, welcome back to the gaming table. I didn't feel like cleaning up this Heroes of Normandy card game. I'm still learning that, but I'm taking a break to show you some stuff that came in the mail. So what I'm gonna do is zoom in here for just a moment and show you part of it. I ordered some ships that came in. Let me zoom in because these are again kind of small. Let me see where the camera zooms to here. Okay, so right there, what I ordered just to experiment is one 4800 scale. I ordered a Tirpitz, Bismarck, Gneisenau, and Scharnhorst. So I ordered two sets of those ships, each, and I think the total with shipping and the print cost, because I got this from Shapeways, was like $26 for 4 ships. When you get the 1/6000, they're really cheap. When you go for the 1/2400 individually, they're kind of pricey. So 4 ships would be like twice the cost of those. You're going to have to judge your price point on that. But one of the big things is to judge the size. Are they the size that you want? So what I wanted to do is show you what these look like when they come in the mail. So I've never used Shapeways before. They're an online printing company. I believe they're global, so I'm not quite sure if you were outside the United States what shipping costs and things like that would be. Maybe there's something more local to you that you could use. I don't know how the Shapeways works internationally, but in the States it worked pretty good. This actually arrived a day sooner than they said. So depending on what you order, just briefly the way it was explained to me when I placed my order is depending on what you've ordered, they will actually put together a bunch of other orders from customers and print like everything at once. So instead of printing like one little thing by itself, they'll put together several items into their printer, whatever they use to print with, and then they'll print several customer orders all at one time. I guess that helps them out time-wise and whatnot. So it takes a couple days to print your item, and then they send it to you. And I chose the cheapest shipping option. So it took like 2 days because they give you like a little progress meter that shows from your order to when it goes to pre-production to production. I think I spent 1 day in pre-production, 2 days in production, and then they shipped it, and then it was like 3 days. So I think I placed this order on like a Saturday and it's Friday, so not quite a full week. It was like 6 days from the order, or maybe 5 even. I'd have to go and look at when I placed the order, but really it didn't take that long. I originally ordered some ships from Noble Knight Games just so I could have ships to play with. Now that I have ships to play with in several scales, I'm going to order more things from Shapeways, and I don't mind the wait because I've got things to play with while I wait for whatever order to come in. So that's the only problem with Shapeways, is just the wait. Beyond just shipping, it's having to wait for it to print. So if you're impatient, you might want to buy some things already made, and then if you have all the time in the world, hey, try Shapeways. Anyway, this is what it looks like when it comes. So when you go to Shapeways, first thing it does, it gives you like some preview of what your item looks like, and you can choose like a 3D view, and this is what it looked like in the 3D view. Had a little roll cage and the ship, and this is the super fine plastic. Like there's 2 options, and this was the better of the 2. I chose that because I don't know their print process, if it has like the layers or what, but this is really hard to see because it comes in kind of that smooth, fine, clear plastic that I chose. So what I did, first of all, I just wanted you to see this is what it kind of looks like when you pull it out of its little packaging, and all you gotta do is it connects here on the bottom of the ship, at least for this one. There's a little connector here and there, and you just clip it with like your plastic model cutters or something like that, and there's no connections on top, so all the connections are on the bottom, and the roll cage just kind of keeps it safe in traveling. So I already cut one of these out, and what I did to help you see it was I went ahead and sprayed it with a dark gray primer. Now I did try to paint on my lighter paint, but because this is like a smooth plastic, that paint just rolled off. Like, it didn't stick to this at all. It's the paint I used stuck to the metal miniatures from GHQ like really well. I didn't prime those. My base coat was kind of the primer, but this I had to use a primer spray. It's a little bit darker than what I like to use on small ships, but I'm gonna have to highlight brush this with the lighter paint, and then that dark gray will just be there for shadows and things like that. So it's going to take an extra bit of paint for me to get this looking somewhat decent for gaming, I think. But the paint just kind of gives you an idea to help you see. I can't get too close because it really fuzzes out. But at this scale, yes, it's small, but there is a lot that you can see on there. The chimney stacks, the cannons there, the turrets on the front, 2 on the back. You can see secondaries, looks like a couple little boats. I need better lighting so I could show you there, but there's the secondaries. It's got the cranes on the side, so it looks pretty good for a ship this size. So just for, let me just show this real quick. This is how it arrived. Obviously, depending on what you order and the size of your product, how it actually arrives to you is going to look different. I'm going to zoom out for just a moment. So first it came in a box, and both of these packets were nicely wrapped in a lot of air bubble packaging stuff. So I felt real comfortable opening it. I was really worried how these little fragile plastic printed items would travel, but this is phenomenal. I mean, each order was packed in its own little thing, and then each one was packed in its own little bubble wrap. And this is the, I think the, let me see here, just hold them next to each other. Yeah, so this is either the Bismarck or Tirpitz. I'm going to have to, once I spray the other one, I'll be able to tell, because it said the Tirpitz, you can actually see the torpedo tube launchers on it. So I only pulled one off of the sprue. So one of those is the Tirpitz I just showed you. But these are the Gneisenau and the Scharnhorst. So again, these two came with that nice little protective cage. I'm just going to snip them from the bottom and then paint them up. So they turned out fantastic. So I feel really good about that. I wanted to share. Those came really well. Okay, so another thing people then are maybe curious about, that's why I ordered the 1/4800 scale, is I wanted to see how these scales compare. And the reason why is because I'm still looking for a scale I want to collect. So here is the 1/6000 scale. Okay, so that's 1/6000. Let me just zoom other way. 1/6000. Right there. Now again, I can hold this up here, and even in the 1/6000 scale, you know, there's a lot of bits and baubles that you can see on there, secondaries, but that detail really starts to blur together as just a chunk of metal. Once you kind of brush some highlights on there, you start to see individual stuff. But again, like a lot of people have said, these are really small. So looking at them up close and holding them in your hand, and you can see, you know, the differences in ships, it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. But on the table, they just get lost in your table. Again, that's great though for your figure scale to terrain scale. And that actually, on my 6x4 table, these give the best representation of that scale and distances of miles that you would measure between ships. So my son was like, these are just too small. He'll play with it because he does think they look realistic, but he and I are both toys people, so I wanted bigger ships. So that would be the next scale up, and that's the 1/4800. So as you can see, it's not terribly bigger, but it's about as long as the water base that the 1/6000 comes on, in addition to the ship itself is still smaller than the 1/4800, but not much bigger. I can't say I was expecting it to be too much bigger, but it is bigger. I think once I paint it up, put some highlight dry brushes and whatnot, it'll be easier to make out different parts of the ship, but for now, yeah, it still doesn't look very big. But I don't have a 1-3000. That would be the next size up, and I don't imagine the 1-3000 being a whole lot bigger. But this here is the 1-2400. Now, I specifically picked the Iowa here because it's a battleship as well, right? That's the Bismarck in 1-6000. That's the Bismarck in the 1-4800, and that's the Bismarck in the 1-2400. So, no wait, sorry, that's not a Bismarck. That's the Iowa. I figured battleship. I don't have the Bismarck in the 1-2400, but I figured battleship. So the 124 is a lot bigger. They look great on the table. They look good when you're holding them. So it's just when I was playing with my friend, we were talking about scale, and he was kind of leaning towards what I was thinking too, was we kind of like the idea of the smaller scale just for the idea of ranging. The 1-2400s look great. Now, he's not changing his scale. He's going to keep the 124 simply because he's been collecting 1-2400 scale for a long time. Now with the Shapeway where you can print in different sizes, it's kind of like he was thinking, wow, if I could do it over, I'd probably get the 1-4800, because the 1-4800 scale does allow you to see some of the details a little bit better than the 1-6000, but they're going to fit on your table and look a little bit better as far as that terrain to figure scale. But I sure do like that 2400 scale. Now, I have, though, again, because I know people really like to see comparisons. Here we have, here's another battleship. This is the 1800 scale. Okay, that's a topside mini. Topside mini, they're vibrant in color. They look much crisper than my paint jobs. But as you can see, again, comparing back, now I know you can't compare different battleships to different battleships very well because, you know, lengthwise and I mean, I get that, but just kind of in the generalities of overall sizes, battleship to battleship, the King George in the 1800 scale isn't that much bigger. So I'm not quite sure how, it doesn't look like there's much of a difference as you jump from the 1800 to 24, but there seems to be a big difference as you jump from the 4800 to 24. So I'm still thinking about picking up, maybe ordering like just one 1-3000 scale ship, because I'm told in Europe the 1-3000 scale is what a lot of people are switching to. So they're a little bit smaller than the 2400, but still allow you to see a lot of individual details like you would on your 2400. So, you know, the search continues, but I just wanted to share that with you. So one, if you've never ordered from Shapeway before, I actually recommend it. They've done me well so far, and I've only ordered once, so that might not be a very fair comparison. Maybe if I order a bunch of stuff, I could, you know, eventually form a stronger opinion. But from my first experience with them, happy with that. Second, the 1-4800, I would probably collect that over the 1-6000 scale. They are a little more expensive, but part of that's going to depend on the plastic you buy. I might buy, when I do the 1-3000 scale, get two ships, a couple, like one in the really good plastic and then one in the, I can't say not as, maybe it's not as good plastic, but I don't know how different the quality would be. But that way then I could show you properly the 4800, the 6000, 4800, 2400, and 1800 scale. So I'm hoping that kind of gives you an idea if you're still looking for stuff. Ultimately, I've had quite a few people tell me that even though they're not actual miniatures, Topside Mini is a beautiful way to get started if you don't have a lot to invest into models. I don't have a lot to invest into models myself. I'm just investing enough because I want to find a scale I enjoy. Because once I find a scale I enjoy, that's kind of where I'm going to go with my purchases, and I want to make sure that money is being well spent. So I wanted to get some, play with them, and see how they feel on the table. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope that you all have a great weekend, and I will talk to y'all later. Thanks a lot. Bye.